shift our attention over to India, which had been making headlines in the United States. India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S Jaishankar, has placed India-US relations now on a fast track. Jaishankar's 10-day visit to the United States was high on substance. Whether it was the issue of Kashmir or even Western media's narrative or the issue of US visa wait time, Jaishankar called a spade a spade. Here's a look at some of the most hard-hitting statements made by India's foreign minister.
On mobility, specifically visas, this is particularly crucial given its centrality to education, business, technology, and family reunions. There have been some challenges of late, and I flag it to Secretary Blinken and his team, and I have every confidence that they will look at some of these problems seriously and positively.
I look at media. There are some newspapers, you know exactly what they're going to write, including one in this town. It is important to contest it. It is important because the most of the Americans, they would not know sort of the nuances and the complexities of our world. If you look at the whole 370 issue, what was a temporary provision of the Constitution was finally put to rest. This was supposed to be majoritarian. Now tell me, what was happening in Kashmir was not majoritarian. Very honestly, it's a relationship that has neither ended up serving Pakistan well, nor serving American interests well. So it is really for the United States today to reflect whether this, what are the merits of this relationship? What do they get by keeping it continuing?
Having borne the brunt of cross-border terrorism for decades, India firmly advocates a zero-tolerance approach. In our view, there is no justification for any act of terrorism regardless of motivation, and no rhetoric, however sanctimonious, can ever cover up bloodstains.
So what has been the impact of Jaishankar's visit? How nuanced is the relationship now between India and the United States? Let's try and get in a sense of perspective, and for that I'm joined in by Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, who's a former diplomat. Many thanks to you, Ambassador, for joining in on our show. Now, Mr. Jaishankar rightly called out Pakistan's role in sponsoring terrorism. But should India be rattled at all by the US sustenance assistance to Pakistan on F-16s?
I think it was very important to state what Dr. Jaishankar had stated. To be very frank, Pakistan is a blind spot in the US foreign policy. But Pakistan is like a hired gun, which is willing to be used for a fistful of dollars when required, and that is why Pakistan becomes important for the US. Now, just compare how the US has gone after Al-Qaeda operatives and how they have treated Hafiz Saeed, on whom there's a $10 million bounty with kid gloves.
Right.
So that is a fact, and the weapons supplied to Pakistan by the US have always been used against India. Absolutely no comparison between India-US relations and US-Pak relations. India-US relations have blossomed. They are one of the most important relationships. It's a forward-looking relationship, very deep, comprehensive. Whereas in the case of US-Pakistan, it is contained the negatives.
Very well said, Ambassador. At the same time, Ambassador, how crucial is the issue of visa wait time for India-US relationship, considering the visiting visa wait time for Beijing is just 2 days and Islamabad's is only 450 days, almost half of New Delhi's wait time?
Well, I would not like to enter into comparison, but let me give you my perspective. I have just come back from the US. I was there for a few weeks, and I do find that US has yet to recover from the COVID blues, and every establishment is hiring. There is unemployment is at a historic low. So what the secretary said about manpower shortages is correct, but at the same time, this kind of an inordinate delay is only disruptive. It causes difficulties for Indians, and it deprives the US for revenue, for example, of Indian students and visas. I wish that they had anticipated that after COVID there will be pent-up demand and had adjusted or prepared well. It is reassuring that the Secretary of State is alive to the challenges, but I think that change will happen sooner than later. It will take time, and that the applicants need to wait, will have to wait before things get better. That is a reality, and that we need to reckon with. But it's important and useful that this was highlighted.
Absolutely. And here's hoping that that change happens very soon, as has been promised by US Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Many thanks to you, Ambassador Vishnu Prakash, for joining in on World 360.